Today, guys, this is what I love, guys. This is the dream team taking place. Donald Trump, Jim Jordan, Elon Musk, right now have just uncovered some of the biggest corruption to date. Trump has just made one of the biggest announcements when it comes to literally changing the economy, taking care of American taxpayers like nobody's business, guys. This is beautiful. Such really good news I have for you today. But they have found that the Act Blue organization, the organization that almost $4 billion was funneled through for the Democratic Party, well, guess what? Oh, sorry, guys. So guess what? All their top executives, chief executives have resigned. Now they have a DOJ investigation because Trump said, we got to investigate them. There's something going on. Why would in 90 days, all of the top executives resign? And this is the best part about it, guys. So not only do we have an open investigation by the DOJ, because this was a huge slush fund for the Democratic Party, they're also going to go ahead and look into every chief executive that resigned in the past 90 days. Guys, all 7 of them. It makes no sense. If there was nothing to hide, why would you resign? So not only are we going to dig down deeper and deeper into the Act Blue organization to find all the corruption, fraud, and abuse, but all the telltale signs are there. There are people leaving, people are resigning, and it just shows you that something has gone wrong. But that's not even the really good news, guys, of what I want to get into. Because Trump said, I'm about to take the middle class to the next level. For people making less than $200,000 a year. Guys, this is so monumental. He said when tariffs cut in, many people's income taxes will be substantially reduced, maybe even completely eliminated. We're aiming to take care of the people making under $200,000 or less. It will be a bonanza for America. The External Revenue Service is happening, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. What amazing news that they not only have launched the DOJ investigations into the biggest Democratic slush fund machine, but they also, Trump said, are really focused on the middle class, taking care of anybody making under $200,000 or less. I love it. And not only that, guys, the corruption keeps being exposed. You will not believe. Remember how Biden kept trying to say we need to forgive these student loans, forgive the student loans? Well, we figured out why, guys. There's a big corruption. 25% of the Pell Grants awarded were awarded to AI bots. $7 billion a year has been wasted, not going to real people. These bots were from foreign sources. So other countries have been stealing almost $7 billion a year from the taxpayers through these student loans, which are the same student loans that Biden wanted to cancel. Are you, guys, can you hear this? Are you hearing me? The corruption is insane. Now we know why he wanted to cancel those Pell Grants. Now we know why he wanted to cancel student loans, because there was a money laundering scheme within the student loan system. Guys, this is mind-blowing. Trump is not only taking care of American people, promises made, promises kept. He just told HUD, guys, not FEMA, not USAID, HUD, to give $1.4 billion back to the people of North Carolina to help rebuild their homes in their cities after Hurricane Helene. Promises made, promises kept, guys. So much big news today. Wow, guys, like the amount of fraud and corruption is insane. But what I love is Trump wants to take that, give it back to the American people. I want to say thank you, everybody who is watching. To all of our subscribers, thank you so much for your support. Guys, if you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want to take care of you guys with all this breaking news that's happening. I want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel. Guys, y'all are the best. And I want to give some special love to Judy Dukes for the super chat, as well as Mr. Tracy J. Norby for super chats. Guys, thank y'all so much for your kindness and support. Remember, this money goes to local charities that we donate to every month on the 22nd of every month. And if you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, we really appreciate your support so much. We are about to get into it, guys. This stuff is so real, and I'm so happy with what I get to show you today. Such good news. Check it out.
Make no mistake, all of these judges trying to stop President Trump from keeping his promise to the American people is simply part of the blueprint of the corrupt Democrat machine. The Biden administration, it purposely aided, abetted, and incentivized an invasion of millions of people for the sole purpose of ensuring that Democrats would never lose another election again. This week alone, judges across the country ruled against President Trump in at least 11 different lawsuits. These judges, they continue to stand in the way of Trump's efforts to deport violent, illegal alien criminals. Think about this. Just think about it. The new Democratic cause is protecting the rights of killers and rapists who invaded this country. And it's all hidden under the guise of humanity. Democrats, they weren't building a nation when they allowed all of these tens of millions of people in and not vetting them, right? They are engineering a permanent majority. The Democrat...
Guys, let me tell you this. I saw a thing, and it makes me so frustrated. These Democrats were willing to fly overseas for an illegal criminal. Not a one of them flew over to Gaza for the hostages. Not a one of them flew over into any place where they held our hostages, even in Russia or Ukraine. But yet, for these innocent people, they saw no support from the Democratic Party. But when it came to these illegal criminals, they got all the love that you could ever want and all the media time from all the mainstream media. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
And it's in full swing. Overwhelm the courts and then delay justice for years. So by the time anyone gets a hearing, you know, they didn't care about vetting them when they came in, but now everybody needs due process when they go out. These people, they already will be card-carrying voters. And then the ultimate plan, the electoral map will be redefined.
Right there,
all
guys.
Of this is weaponized compassion in the name of equity. But we are a nation of laws that must be followed. Otherwise, all of this manufactured chaos, it will continue. These radicals who are fundamentally, they hate America. They truly believe that the end justifies the means. They know they are basically tearing up the Constitution with everything they do, right? And no one is immune from this malignant ideology. Not even judges, not even judges. Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan, she was arrested by the FBI on Friday for allegedly helping a violent illegal alien avoid ICE agents by concealing his court appearance on the public docket. And then she allegedly guided him out of a secret exit door where then he ran from immigration officials, but thank God he was caught. Also a New Mexico judge was also arrested. He's accused of harboring a known Tren de Aragua gang member in his own home. You can't make this stuff up, folks. Judges, they're supposed to be the arbiters of right and wrong, right? I mean, Lady Justice's blindfold. It's supposed to symbolize impartiality.
Yes.
But it seems that all of these judges, all they care about is ruling against President Trump.
Right there,
and
guys.
Rather than...
And look at these faces right here, guys. These are supposed to be judges. Supposed to be following the law. But guess what? They just did a new polling. And this is what I love, guys, because the American people keep speaking out. We keep telling everybody, the Democrats, the Republicans, the GOP, that guess what? We want this illegal immigrants out of the country. Trump's admin program to deport immigrants illegally in the U.S. CBS News poll, 56% approved, guys. This tells you what? That the majority of Americans, that's a huge gap. 44 to 56, guys, want Trump to keep doing what he's doing. So whatever the leftists say, whatever the left mainstream media says, it doesn't matter because the facts are the populace of America want to clean up America. Lay Lewis, thank you so much for the super chat. Woo woo, let's go. Y'all show Lay some love in the chat. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, we are bringing the truth. And I'm telling you what, I love it. Because we knew it. We knew this was happening.
Everyone, Democrats, Republicans, whoever you are, condemn what these judges have done. Here's what Democrats and here's what the media is saying about their arrests.
dramatic escalation in the Trump administration's conflict with judges.
The FBI director saying on social media that they have taken the extraordinary step to arrest a judge.
This is not just an aggressive, but probably an over-aggressive move by the Bureau.
Hannah Dugan is not just a judge, she's an American citizen. So now we are starting to arrest American citizens.
Do you
The Trump
hear this?
administration's FBI, headed by Kash Patel, arrested a Wisconsin judge for simply standing up for the rights of immigrants. This is without any historical precedent and truly terrifying.
You know what's terrifying? The fact that they think we're this stupid.
Wow.
Democrats, they weaponized the judicial system against President Trump for years. They tried to put him behind bars for life on ridiculous...
Guys, look at that picture right there. We won't ever forget it, guys. This was a president. We're not talking about a judge. We're not talking about an official. We're talking about a president. And not one time did they say, dude, they're trying to get a president. All this lawfare, guys, is finally getting exposed.
Trumped up charges over and over again, and they failed, thank God. A judge even convicted Trump of a felony when there was no victim. Under the Biden regime, Democrats also justified arresting monks, remember this scene? And little old ladies outside of abortion clinics for praying. They tried to imprison them for years too, and President Trump pardoned them. Yet Democrats now want to defend these arrested judges. Wasn't this the Democrat battle cry?
No person is above the law, not even the President of the United States, not even a former President of the United States.
Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law.
No one, my friend, is above the law.
Really?
In this nation, not even the president is above the law.
No person is above the law in this country. I can't say it anymore.
No one is above the law.
Apparently, Democrats are the only ones allowed to be above the law, folks. Let's dive into just how serious these charges are against these two judges. In
Right
the
here,
Judge
guys.
Joel Cano case, authorities say he and his wife allowed that Tren de Aragua gang member to live in a spare room behind their house. A guy that is so violent, he had pictures of two decapitated bodies on his cell phone. And the judge clearly was aware that this man, Christian Ortega Lopez, was a member of a terror organization, and he had him in his home. There's even video of the judge on Ortega Lopez's social media. Look at this. He's posing in his living room with this weapon. And guess who was filming him? A gang member. And here's more pictures of the judge hanging out with the Tren de Aragua members outside of his home. You can't...
Guys, let me tell you what. These people are so corrupt. It's so far. I have to show you this, guys, because you're seeing the judges are corrupt. There's judges out there that are corrupt, fully circumventing the law. Why? Because they know that they've been caught. Now on this, top ActBlue executives resigned. Guys, all these 7 senior executives, after working there for God knows how long, have resigned. After funneling $16 billion to Democrats, why did they resign? Well, guess what? The DOJ has opened an investigation, and the Democrats are outraged. Why? We're finding the corruption, guys. We're finding the slush fund. We are finding all the corruption that we have known has been there for God knows how long, pushing all this money, foreign money, into the Democratic Party. Why do you think they've always essentially double outspent us on campaigns? All this corruption, whether it was ActBlue, whether it's these judges, guys, we are seeing that they 100% are finally being held accountable, guys. That's what I love with this.
To be a violent criminal. Eduardo Flores Ruiz is accused of punching his roommate more than 30 times and also attacking a woman. Should we be surprised, though, by Dugan's alleged actions to subvert the law? Here's what she said just a few years ago.
The rule of law is how we address our social issues, how we address our disputes, but also how we grow as people. The rule of law is premised on equal justice, but also we have evolved into due process.
Due process? Where was the due process for Laken Riley, Jocelyn Ungare, Rachel Morin, just to name a few? The media ignoring their preventable and brutal murders. The Media Research Center finding that ABC, CBS, NBC devoted 143 minutes to Marilyn Mann, you know, that's Abrego Garcia, and only 12 seconds to Rachel Marin.
Wow.
The left-wing media also ignoring the arrest of this guy right here, illegal alien Samuel Cabos Kimona, who's accused of killing and raping a 13-year-old little boy.
He illegally entered again sometime in early
So
2022, where he fled from Texas authorities, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. He was located in Sarasota, Florida in July of 2024, but because of the Biden-Harris catch and release policies, he was released back into our community.
Yeah, you say because of 13-year-old little boy is now dead because of their catch and release policies.
Guys, do y'all hear this? Like, this is so heartbreaking. We lose people because the Biden administration catch and released violent criminals back into the America. Like, this is where I want them to be held accountable. I want their butts to be put in jail. Because if it was your decision of why these criminals were out in the streets and caused harm to American people, you need to be held accountable. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. That's why this is so important, what I'm showing you right here. Trump's admin program to deport immigrants illegally in U.S., 56% approved. Guys, I'm telling you, this is really taking off. That people want Trump to run for a third term. And they are putting everything out there, guys. Like, this is blowing my mind. Because when I see this, I'm like, you know what? If it's what the people want, and Trump says there's a way to do it, they're probably going to do it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Listen to this.
He doesn't hold on, Steve. Steve, you spin so much, so fast. I don't know how you keep all that hair on your head. I got to be honest. Let's just take it one at a time, okay? I'm not here to defend the Democrats, okay? They suck. They deserve to be where they are right now. They gave away the flag as a party symbol. They forgot about who brought them to the dance. I'm with you on all of that, okay? Let's put them to the side because I don't give a rat's hiney about them. I'm talking about how to get to a better place, okay? When it comes to the middle class, which I hate that term, when it comes to the majority and the workers and what they're going to do, they're not going back to smelting, okay? Automotive manufacturing is going in one direction, innovation, okay? The jobs of the future are STEM jobs. You have to prepare for them. So you're not going to be cutting people's taxes and investing at the same time. The tax cuts that he passed, the deal that's on the table right now, I don't care what he said to a reporter, does not have a tax increase for the rich. And if his rationale is, well, that's not politically popular, then he's not a leader.
Correct.
Then he's not a leader, Steve. You don't just do what's
right
popular.
Now, this is being fought behind closed doors right now, and I'm telling you, with the massive tax cut, in addition, he's going to give the working class and the middle class, the math only works out if you actually increase taxes on the wealthy. You talked about the manufacturing.
I don't disagree with that. I'm saying he won't do it.
President Trump, I believe, will do it, and I think one of the things he talked about is he said politically it might hurt him. Politically, it's going to help him in his reelect in 2028, which he just put the merchandise up last night. Remember, you and everybody else was mocking me. We've got a whole set of, we've actually got hats and tees and other swag coming for you and the crew in New York, so you can wear them proudly. When President Trump, no, it's not. Hey, everything.
Where was it made?
Hang on. Everything on the War Room site is made in America. I can't vouch for.
Guys, are you ready, guys, to see Trump 2028? It says below it, rewrite the rules. Guys, if you appreciate Trump, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, this again is so out there. It's literally throwing the Democrats into a craze. But think about it. Trump is one of the best at distractions. Hey, we need to do this to fix America right now. And then there's this thing that could happen in the future. That's where I want to keep their eyes on, so it lets me do what I need to do right now, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Are you MAGA 2028? Let me know in the chat, guys. This could change everything.
Anything else? We just bought it and we're sending it to you.
Steve, when are you going to run for office? When are you running? When are you running for office? Because you are a spinster. These are Chinese cozies. These are Chinese koozies in a Chinese hat you're showing me right now. And the president said in the interview, I don't believe in loopholes to the Constitution. So if he wants to run again, it says rewrite the rules on the bottom of that shirt. Put that shirt back up. What rules?
That's not, Chris, we have many different alternatives to make sure President Trump on the afternoon of January 2029 is the president of the United States. Many different alternatives, and we will roll those out over time. But now we see that the president looks like he's very open to the idea, like he's very open to the idea of raising. If we pull off, and I think we will, this increasing, not extending the tax cuts for the wealthy and setting a bracket at 40%, actually kicking it up, it will eviscerate the Democratic Party. It will eviscerate the Democratic Party.
I don't care about the party. I care about the country. Remember what Washington said to us, right? Be a country. That is all. All right? Forget about the party, Steve. They're killing us. They create advantage for you, and you're great at it. But I don't think it's getting us to a better place. But I appreciate you having the conversation with me. You're always welcome here to do it.
Guys, let me tell you this. Again, what is Trump seeing? He's seeing the data. He's seeing that there's so much corruption, guys. And right now, look at what the Democrats are saying right now. Senator Schumer, Chuck Schumer, who's the Senate minority leader, came out and said Democrats will fight with everything they have against the Trump administration for arresting 2 judges for allegedly assisting an undocumented immigrant in evading federal agents. Guys, the Democrats can't even fight with their logic right now because it makes absolutely no sense. But what we're seeing, though, is that there is so much corruption happening, guys, and we're finding it. And that's what Trump is trying to expose. That right now we have so much money that is funneled through the Act Blue, $16 billion to Democrats. But yet, now that Trump is president, all 7 senior executives have resigned. Why? You've been there for years. Why would you all resign all together now that Trump is president, guys? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. This right here, we got to keep going. The good news, guys, is coming because Trump is going to take care of the middle-class Americans, and he's going to expose all the fraud as we dig deeper and deeper into this, guys. Check this out.
The Act Blue stuff, of course, NATO of NGOs, there is almost some military element to that, right? And that's because I would posit, though, despite having significant and copious amounts of help from Western elites, looking at you, Alejandro Mayorkas, in terms of facilitating and orchestrating the illegal alien invasion on this country under Joe Biden. And of course, years prior, there was also a foreign element to it as well. And a lot of that was done using NGOs as conduits. And while a lot of that work was funded by your taxpayer dollars, just like a lot of the resistance to President Trump now is being supported by your taxpayer dollars, one of the key platforms that the money to fund these organizations, which we're going to get into, actually was, believe it or not, Act Blue. So I would encourage the Trump administration, DHS, in addition to looking at Act Blue's involvement on the election front, election vertical, also in terms of immigration, and that's probably too euphemistic a term because this was a full-blown invasion. What do I mean by that? Essentially every NGO, I'm talking about groups from the start of the process, groups that set up, believe it or not, water stations.
Guys, the Catholic Church, think about it like this. The Catholic Church was given $1.4 billion by the Biden administration to assist in undocumented illegal immigrants coming over to the United States. They were getting that much money, $1.4 billion, to help them get their lives going as they came over to the United States. $1.4 billion, guys. This is not no little money. We would know nothing of this if it wasn't for Trump and Elon.
Food, resources on the southern border, along the trek from whatever country these aliens may be coming from until they get to the southern border. Groups like the Keno Border Initiative, they actually fundraise using Act Blue. Now, there's groups like Catholic Charities and their Lutheran counterparts, which also fundraise in addition, like I was saying, to your tax dollars off of Act Blue. These are the groups that once they actually make it into CBP custody, they're then flown into the interior of this country under the guise of, you know, Christian, and a lot of Jewish Catholics or Jewish charities and Catholic charities are down there too. concerningly, we can toss it up on the screen. There's a group called Border Servant Corps, which I was going through their annual report. You can see there they brag about the airlines and the number of people, the cost it is to fly them. If you want to talk about the eulogy of the United States of America, just look at that document. I think
guys, right here, average cost $687 for a family of 3. Do you remember Biden flew in over 300,000 guys, 300,000 migrants by plane into the United States. So if we take, for example, it's $229 a person, $229 times the 300,000 that we know of that Biden flew in, we're talking about $68.7 million of your taxpayer money to fly migrants into the United States and then start handing them all the taxpayer benefits. That's what we're seeing right here, guys. Through these NGOs, our hard-earned money was given to somebody that wasn't even a citizen of the United States. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
graphic design and the formatting of a document that is articulating the cost per person to invade the United States of America should not be lost on anyone. I mean, let that sink in. But there's groups then that once these illegal aliens are flown into any town, maybe it's your town, the groups that are providing them with essentially pro bono legal aid to make sure that they're not deported. All those groups also fundraise using Act Blue. And then the groups that are helping these people actively avoid deportation, so after they've been caught by ICE, whether it be a Trump-era raid or even before, or the groups that are helping them obtain citizenship or a green card, something to that effect, they're also all funded by Act Blue. And then you have groups that you've seen really active under President Trump. We can put this flyer up on the screen, but organizing a lot of the pro-open borders demonstrations, in some cases calling to defund, if not straight up, just get rid of ICE. In some cases, they just want to abolish all detention centers. We can put the melt ICE graphic up on screen. But all of these organizations take their funding from Act Blue. One group in particular called Freedom for Immigrants. Frankly, I prefer Freedom from Immigrants, but I guess Freedom for Immigrants is so radical, is so woke that they want to, quote, end detention. That's their stated goal. The Immigrant Home Foundation, another Act Blue beneficiary, their whole reason for existing is to advocate so criminal illegal aliens can stay in the United States. A group called Immigration Forward, their niche issue is to lobby so HIV positive illegal, HIV positive, like, can you imagine HIV positive legal aliens can stay in the United States? Then you have the black.
Do you see this, guys? The lobbying, this is their niche so that HIV positive illegal criminal aliens can stay in the country. Like, in my mind, I just think like, what? Why? But you know, all they see, guys, is they see a voter. They see a check mark for the Democratic Party. That's all they live for when it comes to using your taxpayer dollars to fund all this stuff.
Immigrant Collective, whose goals are abolition and liberation, again, funded by Act Blue, the same payment processor used by mainstream Democratic Party candidates. And my personal favorite, it's at least favorite of all of these groups, like I said, being funded by Act Blue, is the Immigrant Alliance for Justice and Equity, which is an abolitionist organization that denounces white supremacy, the patriarchy, and capitalism, and is pro-black, pro-brown, pro-indigenous, pro-queer, pro-trans, pro-sex worker, pro-women, and gender minorities, and last but not least, pro-earth.
Guys, again, like, when I bring you the facts, when I bring you the actual polling results, guys, this is what matters. 56% approve of Trump admin's program to deport illegal immigrants in the United States. Guys, this is a poll from the 23rd of April to the 25th of April by CBS. This shows you that, guess what? The majority of Americans want a clean and safe America. So when you hear all this stuff from the left-wing progressive media, it's not true. And you know what, guys? The best news is this right here. This is where the really good news is at, guys. So amazing. Trump went and posted today and said when tariffs cut in, many people's income taxes will be substantially reduced, maybe even completely eliminated. Focus will be on people making less than $200,000 a year. Also, massive numbers of jobs are already being created with new plants and factories currently being built or planned. It will be a bonanza for America. The External Revenue Service is happening. Guys, how amazing. I mean, it was 150,000. They raised it up. They want to include more people. And I'm going to get the actual percentage of people that make under $200,000 or less in America, so you can see the impact, guys, that Trump is trying to make. We know we need to win midterms. We know that if we don't win the midterms, that Trump's going to get impeached and the agenda is not going to be fulfilled. So, guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, when it comes to these judges, there's a reason why Trump, the DOJ, are going after them. Listen to this.
Moments ago in New Mexico, a New Mexico judge and his wife were taken into custody by federal agents following alleged ties to a Tren de Aragua gang member who was apparently living in their home. Here now with analysis, Fox News contributor and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. Speaker, thank you so much for joining us. A lot to get to. I mean, what the president has accomplished in 100 days is, I mean, it's remarkable, his energy. We talk about that a lot, but it can't be stated enough. But overseas, Iran is a major threat to world safety and security. Yet the price of oil is coming down. The president's taking on the Houthis. With Israel, they've been taking out the other threats, the other proxies in the Middle East. Where do you think this is going? Because Donald Trump has saved the world, quite frankly, by doing more in the Middle East over the last 100 days than we've done in a long time.
Well, look, I think it's been kind of amazing. If you take the whole 100 days, remember, just before he became president again, we had people pouring over the southern border. Within 10 days, that entire thing had basically been stopped in its tracks. In fact, it's such a great success, it's now not a front page story because people have said, okay, check that one off. He is methodically replacing the criminals, as you point out, and getting them out of the country. He gave Israel the go-ahead to finish the job against Hamas, something which Biden had consistently denied them the ability to do. He's really taken a much more aggressive act against the Houthis. And part of that, I think, is to send a signal to Iran that we have not moved our heavy bombers into the Indian Ocean just for standing by. And I think the president, although he says it very softly, he's trying to make very clear, either the Iranians are going to give up their nuclear program or we are going to destroy their nuclear program. Obviously, the president very much prefers not to have to use force. He's trying to explain it directly. In the case of Ukraine, I think what's fascinating is, this is just my view, but I believe that Putin has totally misunderstood Donald Trump being patient. And I thought today, when Trump snapped at Putin for having bombed Kiev yesterday, you saw the really beginning of a turn. For a long time, the Trump administration focused on getting Ukraine in line. Now they're starting to discover that actually doesn't matter what Ukraine says. Putin wants to continue the war. Putin lies every day. Yeah. And we'll see what his conversation's like with Steve Witkoff when he's in Moscow. But frankly, I'm not very optimistic because I think Putin does not yet believe that we will actually get involved in helping the Ukrainians. And he believes he can talk and fight, and that we'll be dumb enough to let him do it. I thought today's statement by the president was a clear sign that that may be a major mistake by Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think when Donald Trump speaks, his words actually matter because he actually follows through and does what he says he's going to do. And so going back to Iran, this is where I think the Iranians are getting the message, at least I hope they do, because it's not against the Iranian people, but the Iranian government has to understand that the president is going to make the United States energy independent. And when they drive down the cost of oil, guess what? They don't make as much money. They don't have the revenue, nor does Russia. And so when the president talks about drill, baby, drill, that is not just to help Americans, it's to help the world's safety, but it's also to get rid of the biggest threats that the world has against, using their nuclear bombs, whether they be Russia or Iran.
Well, and as you note, the president now is going to be visiting Saudi Arabia, and I think that that's a clear indication. He and the Saudis are lockstep on this. The Saudis want to stop the Iranian nuclear program in its tracks. The Saudis see their future in alliance with the U.S. and, frankly, in recognition of Israel and working together with the Israelis. And I think you'll see an expansion of the Abraham Accords, which was one of the great achievements of Trump's first term. So in a lot of ways overseas, he is making progress. And we shouldn't underestimate, just because the news coverage is often so biased, there are things happening here at home that are amazing. If you were to look at the total number of investments that are being made here, it's astonishing. As you know, my wife Calista has been nominated to be the ambassador to Switzerland, and she's been studying in preparation for going to the Senate. And she pointed out to me yesterday there are two major Swiss pharmaceutical companies that between them have announced $90 billion in investments in new factories in the U.S. Wow. That's just two companies. I think there are a dozen or more auto companies that have announced it. We're seeing the leading chip maker in the world has announced a huge investment. I think probably there are $7 or $8 trillion already committed to build things in America.
Guys, I'm telling you, the breaking news, we don't wait, guys. We bring you the breaking news as it's happened. This just happened minutes ago. President Trump, from the leading report, calls for the arrest of the individuals who operated Biden's auto pen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. This is big. When Trump calls for the arrest, what is that? What is it? What's going to happen? Well, it means that, hey, Bondi, hey, Kash Patel, hey, Dan Bongino, this is what I want you to focus on. Those people that operated that auto pen, that signed all these crazy agreements, guess what? Put their butts in jail, guys. This is accountability. Trump is so smart. This is what I'm talking about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Mr. Tracy J. Norby, thank you so much for the super chat. For the gifted 10 True Life News members. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat if you got a free membership. Guys, what a great, kind guy, guys. OG of the channel. Let's go.
I think you're going to see a lot more in the next 6 months. And that's the kind of thing that people are going to, a year from now, people are going to be talking about the Trump boom as opposed to the nervousness that we're getting out of all the speculators right now.
Yeah, they have a hard time seeing, 2 days in front of themselves. But I think you're right. By the time we turn the corner into the fall and into the winter, all of that good hard work is going to be paying off, and it will help Americans across the board. Speaker Newt Gingrich, thank you so much.
Guys, so powerful, guys, so powerful. And I got to show you this, guys. Promises made, promises kept. Our boy Trump doing what he said he was going to do. What I love and what I'm showing you here, it's not, he didn't use FEMA. He didn't use USAID. He didn't use anything. He said, you know what, HUD, go give $1.4 billion to rebuild North Carolina after the Hurricane Helene, for the Hurricane Helene victims, guys. How amazing is that? I want to do something real quick. How many victims were there with the Hurricane Helene? Guys, because again, too, what did they offer in the beginning? They offered $750 checks, and it was like the craziest thing in the world just to try to even get one, guys. That's how bad it was. There was ultimately, and it's heartbreaking to say this, 248 deaths for the Hurricane Helene. But when we look at how many people were affected, Trump is giving a ton of money. Think about it, guys. This is the money that from FEMA that they were trying to give to who? They were trying to give all this. Oh, I love this, guys. So Trump is not only given $1.4 billion to rebuild North Carolina. This doesn't even, like what I'm seeing now is it doesn't even include what they're going to be doing through FEMA, guys. If you appreciate Trump and what he's doing, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, this to me is what the president should be doing. Taking care of Americans, giving people that need the help, the dang help that they need, guys. That's what I love. and all these judges are doing are trying to block them, guys, because the corruption is so real. I got to show you this, guys. This is, again, when we found out that this was happening under the watch of the Biden administration, this is, again, where I say, you know what? You need to put their butts in jail. This 100% needs to happen. Because if we don't ever stand up for this, we will always, always, always have corruption in the system. Listen to this, guys. This is so powerful.
You have this new piece on Substack that the USAID and the CIA helped orchestrate Trump's impeachment.
Why do you think USAID was shut down, guys?
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, it's a crazy story. I mean, you might forget that, the House of Representatives impeached President Trump in December of 2019. Many people may not remember that it was a CIA analyst who was left over from the Obama White House who wrote the memo that led to the impeachment. It was all based on hearsay. The person had not actually been in the room with Trump. Nonetheless, this memo that he wrote relied heavily on a report done by an organization funded by USAID. In fact, its initial founding funding, I mean, now it's tens of millions of dollars, had gone into this group called the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, a name that's not very memorable, OCCRP, but it was basically created as an extension of the State Department and then of USAID. And as you know, Jesse, this is very serious to be involved in an effort to do regime change at home, as we've been discovering as the files have come out with what Elon Musk has been doing. We know that USAID was really about regime change abroad. It was a kind of public-facing part, regime change operation like CIA, but not covert, more overt. Well, now you see a similar blowback, just like they did censorship abroad and brought censorship tools back home. They were doing this sort of thing abroad, creating a predicate essentially for Trump's impeachment. So I think it's just one of many revelations that we'll see coming out in the next few weeks.
So USAID was involved in regime change abroad and here at home. Very interesting. If you want to read more about what Mike's talking about.
Guys, God, Jesus, man. Our tax dollars have been wasted so badly, guys. I got to show you the mugshot. This was one of the judges' mugshot who was trying to, did not try, successfully helped the illegal escape the courtroom and the building, and literally they were running down the street. ICE was chasing them. This is her mugshot. Judge Hannah Dugan. You know what? I might as well say it. Former Judge Hannah Dugan. Let me know, Dugan. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Is the justice just so sweet? When you see that, guys, why would you let a person who literally is in court at the time they're trying to arrest him for abusing, but like criminal assault on two individuals, and then you're going to help this person run away? Are you kidding me? I'm glad that they're putting her butt in jail. I'm glad that we're finally seeing justice to these people that are supposed to be upholding justice for the American people at the highest level, guys. And when you hear this, guys, this is, look, it's common sense, guys. And we always love our boy, Scott Jett. We're going to get him interviewed on this channel soon. Della Cole, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Excuse me. Thank you, Joe, for all your hard work you do bringing us the truth. I'm all for president for 2028. Let's go. Y'all show Della some love in the chat.
It's an embarrassment. Let me just respond to something you said,
go ahead.
which is that you said, well, you got to worry about the impact on the community.
Yes.
The president and the Justice Department and his people have to worry about the impact of illegal immigration on the country, because nobody's been worried about that for years. And the reason this is important is because this is one of Donald Trump's biggest criminal justice priorities. And frankly, it's one of the American people's biggest priorities to control this. And you know well, there are people all over towns, all over this country who have been working overtime to try to stop him from executing on this agenda. If she turns out to be one of them, a spectacle is warranted so other people will stop doing it.
I appreciate
Let me tell you what offends
We really
me.
gotta go.
Is that there are people and one political party in this country dedicated to re-importing illegal aliens hand over fist, and it is outrageous.
It's an embarrassment.
Let me just respond to
Guys, does he not lay them out with the fact? And what I love is they always try to fight him real quick. Always like, well, actually, well, no, they're not trying to. No, they're not trying to do this. And actually, no. We know what's happening. Don't try to gaslight us anymore. The American people are done with it. And what I love too, guys, is America is seeing the Democratic Party for who they truly are. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Because I always grew up, the Democratic Party was for the poor, Republicans were for the rich. Now it's like the Democratic Party is for the corrupt, and the GOP, now MAGA, is for the American people, and the Republicans were for the rich. Let me know your thoughts on that. Check this out.
A really marvelous clip, especially with the soundtrack of Freebird in the background. But I love that clip of J.D. Vance interacting with our soldiers overseas in Germany. But could you for a minute imagine if that were Kamala Harris?
No, that's not really coming up in the old visual right now, Charlie. And that's why perhaps she's not the commander-in-chief right now. And I think Sarah Huckabee Sanders, to your monologue, said it best last year when she talked about this election being a choice between normal and crazy. I mean, Republicans think Democrats are insane, independents think they're insane, and left-wing Democrats think, well, they're not insane enough. And maybe that's why AOC, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, they're the front runners for the nomination right now. I know it's early. And David Attention Hog is number 2 at the DNC. And the irony here with J.D. Vance is that Goofy Tim Walz seemingly was chosen because he went viral on the left and was cheered by legacy media for calling J.D. Vance weird. And Kamala's campaign fell in love with that line for some reason. And the deeper irony is that J.D. Vance is, as we see, quite normal. He interacts well with soldiers because he's a former Marine. While Walz, he looks like, you know, the least and sounds like the least cultured guy you'd find in a bus station. So now Democrats are trying to conjure up this image of authenticity, right, by swearing a lot on social media. And it's just so phony. They seem to think the angrier they get, the more unhinged they act, that somehow makes it look like they really care. But it seems like the only thing they care about is protecting those who entered the country illegally, who beat their wives, as we saw with the Brago Garcia, the Maryland man, the MS-13 gang member recently deported to El Salvador, to the horror of liberal lawmakers. And now this judge in Milwaukee that we're hearing about today that was arrested by Pam Bondi's DOJ for protecting an illegal who beat 2 people and put him in the hospital. And the judge is protecting that illegal and ignoring the victims. That, Charlie, is weird.
Yeah. Truly. And, you know, you look at, it's almost like some of them are trying to learn a lesson from Donald Trump, but they're not learning the right lessons from Donald Trump. Those, of course, being the idea of embracing common sense issues at the center.
100%.
It's kind of like, you know, we're seeing the Tea Party movement from 15 years ago that, destroyed the Republican Party, tore it apart, and created the opening for Donald Trump, finally hitting the Democrat Party. And I've always believed that when the Democrat Party comes apart at the seams, it's going to really come apart because you've got some really sort of wackadoodle people and wackadoodle ideas on the Democrat side.
But precisely. And that's the whole thing here, Charlie. After 1994, Bill Clinton takes a shellacking in the midterms, and he was politically smart enough to move to the middle, right? The era of big government's over. He worked with Newt Gingrich in terms of welfare reform. We had this strange thing called a balanced budget amendment, and he won in 96 quite easily. So Democrats should heed that lesson and say, okay, let's go back to the middle, or at least try to go somewhere left of center. And instead now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is out on this Fight the Oligarchy tour. Now, oligarchy, excuse me, it's a word I don't use very often in conversation.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. And she flew 5 times on a private jet to get to these rallies to talk about how horrible billionaires are. And you talked about it before. They voted against a bill that will protect women from men in sports.
AOC flies on a private jet, which costs like $15,000 an hour, to go talk to normal average people about why millionaires and billionaires are bad. The irony, guys, the irony is so real, guys, and it blows my mind. If you appreciate, guys, that these fake Democrats, guys, are getting exposed, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, it blows my mind. Like, when I hear these words, it just triggers me. Like, how do people not see this?
I mean, that is political suicide. They vote against the Lake and Riley Act. I mean, that is an 80-20 issue. And voting against a bill that simply asks for ID when you're voting. So they keep stepping on these rakes and handing all these victories to Donald Trump. And until there's a leader from the center that can take hold of this party and say, stop listening to the crazies, we got to get back to business and do what Clinton did in '94, they're not going to win any elections anytime soon, Charlie.
And of course, that was the big difference between the Tea Party and today's Democrat Party, is that the Tea Party was dragging Republicans back to the Constitution. Democrat AOC and Bernie Sanders is like dragging the Democrat Party over to the Soviet Constitution or something. It's truly insane. And I don't know what's worse, the actual people that are doing it or their ideas. But we thank you so much for joining us tonight, Joe.
Guys, let me tell you this, because this is some of the biggest news to come across our channel in so long, guys. There's a reason why Biden wanted to cancel the student loans. There's a reason why they were trying to cover it up. Department of Education sends 25% of Pell Grants to AI bots. Each year, the Department of Education sends out $28 billion with a B, guys, not an M, a B, in Pell Grants to millions of students, 25% of whom aren't actually students. Fraudsters use AI bots to apply and enroll long enough for the Department of Education to send out the grants. So roughly about $7 billion of your taxpayer dollars are fraudulent when it comes to these student loans. Makes you think, out of the $1.7 trillion in student loans, how much is actually to real students? Really? Then it makes you start thinking, oh, well, where did these AI bots come from? Where were they originating out of? The article goes deeper to say that they were from foreign sources. So people from across the world outside of the United States stole $7 billion, and that's in 1 year, guys. That's in 1 year. From the American people through the student loan system. And then there's some conspiracies that I'm seeing that are like saying they took some of that money, funneled it back through Act Blue, back into the Democratic Party. Now Biden wants to cancel the student loans, specifically the Pell Grants. Do you see, guys, how all this starts to logically make sense? Like, this is the type of stuff where I'm like sitting over here like Sherlock Holmes, looking at it and thinking, dang, they were good. They were freaking good. We would not know any of this if it wasn't for Trump and Elon. And that's why, guys, it's so important that we hold these people accountable. We put their butts in jail. All these people that have just wronged the United States in such a horrible, horrible way. Trump is over here taking care of the United States. Scott Charles, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Scott some love in the chat. When it comes to foreign policy, guys, listen to this, guys, because again, when it comes to the breaking news, we want to make sure informed.
President Trump greeting the Prime Minister of Norway at the White House. Trump telling reporters he thinks Vladimir Putin will listen to him on stopping strikes in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says that the United States wants to sign a sweeping economic partnership with Ukraine. The goal, lasting peace between Ukraine and Russia and a new era of post-war investment. But they could be losing their patience with President Zelensky. Trump promised a new U.S.-Ukraine mineral deal today. That's now delayed. The pressure comes just hours after a deadly Russian strike on Kyiv that killed several people. Trump responding to the attacks on Truth Social this morning, demanding Putin stop, get the peace deal done. And that's a quote. Jackie, to you on this first, simply your expertise on all things natural resources and the deals afoot with Ukraine, but also how we potentially offset Russia's power by, like, again, up in production of natural gas and even oil here in the United States. Just to put it in perspective that way.
Absolutely. And second to tariffs and then a big, beautiful bill, people are saying they want to see energy production in this country rise, and they want to see it pretty quickly. It's high on the list, and that kind of is coupled with deregulation, but that would put us in a winning position for so many reasons, and it would give us a lot of leverage over Russia. And that's one of the things that people questioned when Joe Biden allowed Russia to invade Ukraine, why he took our natural gas production down, why he said you couldn't export natural gas, and then later said that he doesn't remember signing that. Well, somebody signed it. And so there are a lot of things at play here. But what's interesting to me about the negotiations is I don't trust Ukraine just because of the level of corruption that is there.
I don't trust
Let's say
them
we
either.
do get a mineral deal, and it's a joint venture. 50% we're supposed to share with them. If they're not mining properly or maximizing the capabilities that they have, they can just kind of dawdle and not do anything. 50% of nothing would be nothing. So I don't see what we get out of that, and that could be a stalling tactic for Zelensky if he doesn't like what happens. And on the opposite side of this, you know, you're going to have to give Vladimir Putin things to get him to back off and to stop. Otherwise, there's no incentive. Not only do you have to give him things, but you're going to have to make him look good in this process, and that creates a slippery slope. And then we've brought up this third element of if we do said minerals deal and we put our presence there, what does that really mean, having the United States there? How much is Ukraine going to lean on us? So this is really complicated. I still go back to my first thing of deterrence would have been a much better option than getting entangled in this. You know, obviously Trump is going to work out a solution or try to get us out of it and to get them out of it, to get a ceasefire, but it's not going to make all people happy on all sides, for sure.
Well, it's peace at what cost? And what worries me is giving Putin something that, in effect, will prompt the next invasion.
Crimea?
Whether it be 3 months from now, 3 years from now, he is playing the long game. And, you know, Ukraine, corrupt without question, but also the victim in this case here. So that's
Guys, this is one thing that I got to show you this, because when Trump says something, I 100%, I feel like you should take him at his word. So this came out today. He's been talking about Russia, Ukraine, getting peace, fixing the Middle East, doing all this stuff. Just released 99.9% at the border. Best number ever recorded. 3 people got in versus hundreds of thousands in the last administration. There has never been such a difference before. Congratulations, America. So when you see this and you think like, dang, they said it could be done. They said they needed Congress to do it. All we needed was a dang new president. And as a businessman, he's seeing all this stuff. What is it going to take for the border between Russia and Ukraine to be fixed, for them to have peace, for them to be able to go about moving forward? This is where I give a lot of credit to Trump, that he knows what he's talking about whenever it comes to all this peace stuff, because again, too, he's done it before, and the experience means the world.
I'm worried about any deal, any settlement. I mean, we all want peace, but I think if Putin is allowed to keep all this territory that he essentially conquered, we are only setting ourselves up for more unrest in Europe and ultimately a stronger Russia writ large.
See, and I argued that, and my lovely co-anchors came back to me and they said, but Trump's dealing with the facts now. Crimea happened 2014, 2013 under Obama, right?
Under
that
Obama.
Was pre-Trump. And so giving Russia Crimea, if that saves thousands of lives for Ukrainian boys, Russian boys who maybe don't have a choice. So I'm with you. And that was my argument yesterday and then persuaded by, but the facts of today have changed. Like, if you want peace, there has to be this coming together from both sides.
Yes. Well, I think the pushback on it is, and I take your point about the incentive it might create for a Putin or somebody else, fine. But if you're not going to do this, a deal like this, I actually think this deal is sort of, these are the facts on the ground, like them or not deal. That's what Trump's putting forward. If you don't like that and you're worried about what Putin might do, then what are you proposing next? Like, that's the answer that's a question that doesn't get answered when people point out that recognizing Crimea as Russian is going to incentivize Putin. What are you going to do? You're going to keep sending money to Ukraine? Are you going to keep the fight going? What is the U.S. interest in that? And I would like a persuasive answer to that. I just haven't seen anybody really provide one.
Well, I guess my fear isn't even only Putin, it's also potentially Xi.
Yeah.
You know, if the notion is, yeah, you can walk into another country and simply get to conquer it, and the rest of the world isn't going to do anything. And Brian, I mean, I don't know, certainly I wouldn't want American soldiers, but to allow President Zelensky in Ukraine to purchase ammunition, purchase weapons, I would see no problem.
See, I just don't
with that.
think, regardless of what you think about Taiwan and America's interests there, I don't think you're locked into viewing every other situation around the globe with any country the same way as Russia and Crimea. You can recognize the reality of Russia, Crimea, but then say that may not be how we operate in other spots. And I think it's very fair to do that. And I don't think we should be locked into binary thinking on this. But that's kind of like the argument. If you do this with Russia and Crimea, then that's going to set the precedent for everything else. I just reject that.
Guys, I just came across something I got to show you because, like, as we're seeing this, I have no doubt that Trump is going to bring peace with Ukraine, with the entire Middle East and whatnot. But this came across, and it just blows my mind because the internet is full of the facts. We just got to pull them together so that we have context. Trump is going to get a peace deal, and the Democrats are still going to say it was wrong. They're still not going to give him credit. They're still going to be like, you know what? It was the wrong peace deal. Doesn't matter if the killing stopped. It was wrong, and you took care of Russia, or you didn't take care of Ukraine. No matter what it is, it's never going to be good enough. But listen to this, because if a common sense person sees this, they should know, stop watching these people. Listen to this.
Nobody's above the law. We only have one system of law for everyone. Nothing about being an elected official gives you a license to commit crimes or a license to get away with it if you do. Why step up politically and defend a judge or a prosecutor? That's supposed to be a non-political part of our system. It's not like we didn't know it was going to be terrible. And it is terrible. He really did have a judge arrested today. Arresting a judge today.
You hear that? Like, when you see this, all I can think of is, do y'all not realize that people remember? Do you think people are this stupid that they don't remember all the stuff that you're doing? Trump came out and also posted, he said, remember, we've been telling you about the Act Blue, guys. Hopefully Act Blue, the Democrats' illegal scam used to raise money, included from not allowed foreign contributions, is being looked at by authorities. The Dems only know how to win by cheating, something which they do better than any group or party in history. But now with their terrible policies and candidates, and with people like crooked Adam Schiff, who demanded a full pardon from Sleepy Joe, leading the way, it is almost impossible to reach their money goals. The USA is wise to these scoundrels and crooks. Also, why did the auto pen give Schiff a pardon? Biden knew nothing about it. Who operated the auto pen? This is the biggest question being asked in D.C. They almost destroyed our country. They should all be in jail. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Like, is this is a real president who is communicating with the American people, with his constituents, on what the heck is actually happening behind the scenes. This is what I care about. This is what matters to me. Biden, you didn't hear anything unless they allowed him to say something. But now we're living in a new age. Guys, the good news, I want to show it to you one more time. This is such amazing news that Trump said when tariffs cut in, many people's income taxes will be substantially reduced, maybe even completely eliminated. Focus will be on the people making less than $200,000 a year. Taking care of the middle class, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Guys, if you appreciate this, thank you so much to all of our subscribers and all our viewers. Guys, if you're not subscribed, if you're not a part of the True Life News family yet, please consider subscribing to us so we can serve you every day with the top news. Guys, we want to take care of you, and want to say, if you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, clicking it in a sense, but like, we really appreciate and thank you so much for your support. When you share these videos, when you like these videos, guys, we want to bring you the receipts. We want to show you everything that's happening as it's happening. Breaking news, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, to make sure you're informed. And I want to give some love to Chris 13, Lay Lewis, Della Cole, Scott Charles, Mr. Tracy J. Norby. Guys, show them some love in the chat. We are growing our community. We're giving more than ever to charities. Guys, we've literally given over $33,000 to local charities with your support live on stream. Why? Because we're going to be more than just reporting the news. We're going to make positive change in this world, guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.